the good politicians that I've met, and this is relevant to this, they listen. You know, they go out among their people, actually go out, and they listen to them. And that way they learn what to do. And that's not opinion polls. Opinion polls are, and my country and yours to a large degree, is ruled by opinion polls to a degree you can't possibly imagine, because the politicians won't take responsibility for saying what they think, and so then they default to their handlers, and their handlers rely on opinion polls, and opinion polls provide a bad short-term sample of people's careless thoughts. And you think, well, you're following the public. It's no, you're not. The entire parliamentary system is set up to follow the public in an intelligent way. It's not easy to figure out what people think or what they want. It isn't even easy for individuals to figure out what they themselves think or want. It's really hard. And these traditions that we've set up of representative democracy are ways of listening to the people that are measured and thoughtful and long-term. And they're being supplanted by idiot opinion polls that are run by people who have instrumental desires. They want to win the next election. And I know you have to win the damn next election. There's a reason we don't have direct democracy. There's a reason for that. It's like rule by impulse. It's not a good structure. It's not a good strategy. We figured that out a long time ago. Our organizations are way too large and complex for anything like direct democracy to work. We're going to have a vote on every issue? Like, obviously not. People just don't have the expertise for that. And it's not like they shouldn't be consulted. They absolutely should be. The voice of the people is the sovereign master of the political enterprise. But what a leader does is aggregate that voice. I'll give you an example. This is a good example.
What a leader does is aggregate that voice.
Yes. Collects it. So I interviewed Jimmy Carr, the British comedian. He's very, very smart, Carr. And I asked him how he did what he did. And I kind of knew this from other comedians I've talked to. He said, the comedy, stand-up comedy, is the most dialogical of all the artistic enterprises. I thought, well, what do you mean by that? Because you have a monologue. What do you mean it's dialogical? And he said, well, before I go out on a tour, and he's had a couple of successful world tours, so that's pretty good when you're that funny. That's amazing. He said he'd go out and do 100 shows. Rogan does the same thing. All the comedians do the same thing. They go to small clubs and they try out their material. So they're sitting at home trying to be funny, and sometimes they are and sometimes they're not. And then they go to an audience and they lay out some jokes, and sometimes people laugh a lot and sometimes they don't. And so the comedians who do this repeatedly listen, and then they collect all the things that people think are funny. And so isn't it so cool is that you don't even have to be that funny in some sense to be a comedian. You have to be a little bit funny, and then you really have to listen. And so if you go out to your audience and you tell them jokes and they tell you what's funny, then you can collect all the things that everyone thinks is funny, and then you can go on a world tour and just say things that everyone thinks are funny.
Exactly.
It's so cool. That's the pathway to
Hence,
that.
aggregate.
Exactly. So and the comedians are doing what a political leader who is functioning properly does. They're doing exactly the same thing.
Please subscribe to the channel, and if you want to watch the full podcast, the link is in the description below.